And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It is a Thursday morning, Holy Thursday. Thank you very much for joining us for today's edition of Gudday Grenada. I'm George Grant. Today happens to be the 18th day of April, 2019. My dear friends, saddle up, saddle up, saddle up. It's going to be a good morning. Taking a look at the rundown, menu, if you will, we're going to start this morning with something that's pretty topical these days. It's been for the whole week, since last weekend, actually. I'm going to share with you an article which appeared on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website over the past few days, written by Claudette Joseph. It's captioned, Oil and Gas, Our Patrimony or Government Secret? Yeah. That's where we're going to begin this morning. And then, yes, we do have the national report for you today. And it being a Thursday morning, we expect that Mr. Bierzynski will be chiming in. Yes, sirree. Thursday morning with Allan Bierzynski. That's a lot. That's a lot. May not see. It seems like only 3 items. Ain't just only 3 items. I want you to listen carefully this morning. Try to spend the whole morning with us if you can. So let's get started. This is an opinion piece which was written by Claudette Joseph of the NDC's Public Relations Unit. And I quote, on 31st March 2008, just months before the July 8th elections, the NNP government entered into a production sharing agreement with a company called Global Petroleum Group for the, quote, exploration, development, and production of offshore petroleum resources of Grenada, unquote. The agreement was signed against the legal advice of Grenada's lawyers, who specialize in energy law, and also against the advice of an expert team from the Commonwealth Secretariat. Also, on March 31st, 2008, government issued GPG with an exploration license giving GPG exploratory rights over 11 blocks. In issuing the license, government did not comply with the provisions of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Deposits Act, Chapter 240 of the 1990 Revised Laws of Grenada, or the Natural Gas Deposits Regulations, SRO number 14 of 2007. GPG is a private company that was formed in 2003, apparently for the specific purpose of entering into the agreement with government. None of the principals of GPG had prior experience or expertise in the oil and gas industry. When the NDC took office in July of 2008 and saw that government's advisors found the agreement to be disadvantageous, we sought additional advice from Dynamic Global Advisors, DGA, an independent team of oil and gas experts based in Texas. DGA agreed with the earlier experts that the deal was a bad one. They went further and said the agreement was, and I quote, a blatantly one-sided, so blatantly one-sided in favor of GPG that it constitutes a reprehensible bargain between the two parties. Unquote. With this opinion from DGA, the NDC government tried its best to renegotiate the agreement with GPG so that Grenada could benefit from its oil reserves. By then, it was mid-2012. The elections were close at hand. GPG was not cooperating, and NNP was supporting GPG, not Grenada, making all kinds of noises, misleading and lying to the people. After the NNP won the elections in 2013, it announced that it would proceed with the arrangement with GPG. The agreement, signed on 31st March 2008, was due to expire in late 2012. As of today, the NNP has not told the nation whether they went ahead with this reprehensible 2008 agreement or whether they took the opportunity to sign a new, more beneficial agreement. In fact, everything about the current arrangement has been hidden from the people of Grenada, treated as top secret, while we have to look to regional and international newspapers for information. The NDC strongly condemns this treacherous conduct against the people of Grenada. On September 21st, 2017, a report in the Trinidad Guardian newspaper indicated that Grenada, GPG, had discovered oil in the waters close to the border with Venezuela. Only after this, and another report in an international online energy magazine, did our Prime Minister confirm that yes, oil was discovered. Our government never saw it fit to break this good news to the people. Was this because they knew that the news was only good for GPG? Since then, all news relating to developments in our oil and gas sector has originated from outside of Grenada. Government only makes reactionary, vague statements when forced to. Of course, the one exception was the election gimmick at Pearls on the eve of the elections, when Mitchell once again tomfooled the people. Again, on March 21st, 2019, in Parliament, in responding to some questions from Senator Ron Redhead on the current arrangement with GPG, Senator Simon Steele, leader of government business in the Senate, told the nation that the deal with GPG was a sensitive commercial contract and therefore confidential and not, quote, subject to public perusal at the time, unquote. What utter hogwash. The people's business is being kept a secret from the people by those we hire to mind our business. Despite Steele's hogwash, an article appeared in the Trinidad Guardian days later, disclosing a $3.4 billion exploration agreement between the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago and GPG. It seems that for the people of Grenada, our oil and gas business is a secret. But for the people of Trinidad, it is not. The NDC finds it deeply troubling that GPG has run into financial difficulties and is getting financial backing from a third party. And further, that there was no one from Grenada at the signing with NGC, that's the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, to look after the interests of the people of Grenada. We call this out as recklessness and a dereliction of duty of the highest order. After 2 short years in office, NDC was able to conclude the Maritime Boundary Delimitation Agreement with Trinidad and Tobago, and that was back in 2010. Mitchell claimed that the agreement was bad and he would redo it. He hasn't, because he cannot do better. By contrast, we note with concern that he has made absolutely no attempt to do the same with Venezuela since resuming office in 2013. This can have dire consequences for us in the future. The resources and minerals of our land and sea belong to the present and future peoples of Grenada, not Mitchell and his cronies. They are not protecting our patrimony. We call on every patriotic Grenadian to stand up and be counted. Start doing so by adding your voices and making sure we soon put an end to this madness. Once again, folks, that's an opinion piece which was published on Grenada Broadcast this week, written by Claudette Joseph of the NDC's PR unit. Just a little heads up. This weekend, I know it's Easter Sunday, but this weekend, we're going to be having quite the discussion about this particular article which appeared in the agreement which we're told about, okay? So join us on Sunday morning. The program begins at 9 o'clock, and we do expect that about 10:30 we'll get into this particular topic. Let me say, she's first this morning. Margaret, hello girl, welcome back. She says, good morning, peeps. Did you know you were a peep? I am. She says, hope all is well. Fitzroy Adams saying good morning. John is checking in from dependency number 1. And he says, bring it on, AB. Can't wait for AB to show up here this morning. Veronica Sandy is sending blessings to everyone. Peter Bishop and all saying good morning. Anthony Riggs. Folks, share the live, says Anthony. Good boy, Anthony. Thanks a lot. And Bernard Gilbert's also chiming in. All right, pilgrims, it's 14 minutes after the hour. Let's take a quick little break here, and we'll come back with the National Report.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming.
Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Have you ever noticed how polite everybody who shows up on this forum is? Everybody comes on and says, good morning, good morning, good morning. Blessings. Hey, wonderful people. You're good people. That's why you're here. Thanks a lot. Petra, good morning to you. And Benedict Cador says, thriving Holy Thursday. Pilgrims, here comes your national report.
UE names Grenada best paying island for student tuition. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, April 17th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The government of Grenada has been recognized by the University of the West Indies as the best-paying island for the entire Caribbean for student tuition. Minister with responsibility for tertiary education, skills development and education outreach, Honorable Pamela Moses, made the disclosure at the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday. Government pays in excess of 500,000 EC dollars monthly to UE as tuition costs for Grenadian students attending the institution, whether at the physical campuses, online or through the open campus. Minister Moses says this is a clear indication that government is committed to providing opportunities for nationals to achieve tertiary level education.
They've really made it so clear that we are so reliable in paying almost $500,000 monthly on behalf of Grenadian students that the university can pay all its bills as a result of our payment. They can wait on it and say, okay, this month we expect Grenada's money, not other islands' money. We expect Grenada's money, exactly $516,000. That we expect that money, and so we can function, we can pay off bill X, Y, or Z.
Minister Moses also disclosed Wednesday that government covers 80% of the economic cost that students would normally pay to attend the UE. Students therefore only pay 20% of what the cost of their education at the UE campuses would normally be. As it relates to the UE Open Campus, government covers 40% of the cost of operation, while the remaining 60% is covered through the tuition fees paid by students or other sources of revenue.
When a Grenadian student attends the University of the West Indies, whether it is in Barbados, Jamaica, or Trinidad, or whether it is open campus, online or wherever, they really only pay 20% of the economic cost. Your government pays 80% of that cost for you. And so that is why so many people can train online, and continue working, pay the 20% from their salaries. They can really function.
Minister Moses said, and I quote, although the contribution to the open campus is less than what is given to the physical campuses, it still represents a cost savings for students using that option. Without that 40% contribution government is making, students would have to pay much more, unquote. In other UE-related news, Minister Moses noted that further to UE being named as the top university in the Caribbean, the institution, which has campuses in 3 countries, was also listed in the top 5% of outstanding universities in the world. An article posted on the UE Mona campus website last year stated that the institution made the Times Higher Education World University Rankings for the first time. The Grenada government is spending 43 million EC dollars on the construction of new schools and the renovation and rehabilitation of others as part of the Grenada Educational Enhancement Project GEEP. While its emphasis is on infrastructural development, the project also embraces human resource development, with as many as 60 teachers to benefit from payment of the balance of their fees to complete further studies at the first degree and master's levels. During government's weekly post-cabinet briefing on Wednesday, Honorable Emmeline Pear, Minister for Education and Human Resource Development, said they are close to completing an environmental impact assessment for the Grenada Christian Academy, St. Andrew's Anglican Primary and St. David's Catholic Secondary, and the design phase will be complete by year-end so that construction can begin on the new schools. Bishop's College, PBC and the Grenada SDA Comprehensive will benefit from expansion, rehabilitation and protection through retaining walls, with work to begin by September. Other schools to benefit under the GEEP project are the St. Joseph's Convent in St. George's, where construction of a retaining wall will begin by June. And for St. Joseph's Convent in Grenville and J.W. Fletcher Catholic Secondary, design work for expansion will begin by June. Minister Pearce spoke of other schools also on the list for rehabilitation and renovation.
Holy Cross RC School, there's been a lot of questions in the media concerning that and the delays that we've had with regards to that school. And we know these circumstances after Hurricane Ivan, that there was a need to construct a new school. And so I wish to inform the public that to a cost of just about $5.4 million, that school is complete. And we expect that within another week or 2, we should be announcing an opening ceremony for that school. Using the opportunity also to update you on River Sally Preschool, Happy Hill, Brizan Preschool, and Paradise Preschool. We expect that construction will begin between June and July as it relates to River Sally. Construction will begin before year end for Happy Hill and the Paradise Preschool. Just to say, we've had some challenges with regards to identifying lands, both for Paradise and Happy Hill, but I'm happy to report that lands identified already provided officially to the Ministry of Education that they can start the work through the BNTF project on those 2 initiatives. Only yesterday we got confirmation on the land for Happy Hill, Brizan, and I'm really, really happy because we know the challenges faced by some of those schools.
The project is designed with support from the Caribbean Development Bank and is part special loan and part grant. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The eyes of the world are on us more than ever. So let's take it to them. Saturday, May 4th, the Spice Mass Corporation launches Spice Mass 2019. The Caribbean's biggest summer festival. This year's launch starts with a roadshow from Ariza Car Park to the National Stadium from 3 p.m. Bring out your last year's costume and join the parade. It's one big experience with a display of fancy man, traditional man, Moko Jambi, and the most envied Jab Jab. The official opening is at the National Stadium, featuring your favorite soca artists and DJ, Calypso Monarch, Steel Pan Champions, and presentations of the 2019 Carnival Queen contestants, plus displays of 2019 costumes, SMC show tickets, and other attractions to be won. Saturday, May 4th, the National Stadium, the launch of Spice Mass 2019. Bring out the entire family. Log on to spicemassgrenada.com for more.
Welcome back. Grenada has registered another first in community empowerment. On Tuesday, the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC, and the Ministry of Education handed over a fully solar-powered ICT center in Gut, Upper St. John, St. Andrew. The solar-powered center, funded by the Universal Service Fund, is the first of its kind in any CARICOM country. NTRC's Universal Service Fund Administrator, Krista Burke-Medford, says the center is in keeping with the thrust to sustainability, access to internet for all, and community empowerment.
This project also includes maintenance and support for this center for a period of 3 years to assist with the sustainability. The project also includes interactive projector, smart screen, 21 desktop computers, touchscreen computers for persons with disability, robotics kits, as well as subscription to IXL, which is an online program to supplement the learning of students in primary and secondary in the areas of mathematics and other areas. It is our vision that the funds that has been invested in this center will be well utilized towards your development.
Education and Human Resource Development Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear is pleased that Grenada is moving in the direction of providing relevant and quality education. She said measures must be put in place to keep abreast with the fast-paced and diverse world.
This does not exist anywhere else in the magnitude that it exists here. But very importantly, mention was made of technology and the great and important role that it has to play, not just in our development, but when we look at what is happening internationally. When we look at what is happening, mention was made of climate change. You know, I was saying this morning at the GUT conference, you know, we are having a lot of conversations, but we have to be so careful that we don't get left behind. So the fourth industrial revolution, it is here. We can't escape it. It is here. The world is talking artificial intelligence. What are we doing to prepare our children here that it does not become a shock to them when it comes upon them? And so when you look at all that is envisaged for this project, the robotic programs, I mean, it falls so much in line with what is happening around the world and the drastic dynamic changes that are before us that we can't escape.
Parliamentary Representative Kate Lewis has no doubt the centre will enhance the lives of her constituents.
I am pleased that this project is not only about providing broadband, internet and ICT services to the people of Upper St. John's and surrounding communities, but that under the leadership of the Ministry of Education, training will also be provided to the residents in the areas of science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM, and also agriculture. This project will no doubt go a long way in helping to develop the human resource in this community and this constituency of St. Andrew Northeast, and help to ensure that all our people are adequately qualified for the jobs that are available on the job market, or that they are fully capable of starting and managing their own small businesses.
The overall cost of the project was $696,000. And finally, 360 participants will benefit from a partnership project between the government, New Life Organization, and the UK Department for International Development, DFID, in skills employment. DFID has agreed to fund 65% of the Skills for Youth Employment Project SKY, which will see young participants gain CVQ certification over a 3-year period in 5 key areas: health, construction, ICT, agribusiness, and hospitality and tourism. The project, which adopts a competency-based approach, is earmarked to commence in September 2019. Minister with responsibility for tertiary education, Honorable Pamela Moses, says 10% of the participants will be the physically challenged.
So this here program will provide them with the certificate that they would need to access those jobs out there. SKY will really deliver a competency-based training program to unemployed, disadvantaged people, persons in the community. But that's not all. This program, this collaboration between the government of Grenada, NULO, and DFID would look further at disadvantaged persons. So someone who is disabled would have an opportunity to take part in this program and so become CVQ certified.
The New Life organization NULO has been commended for its excellent work in skills training over the years. According to Minister Moses, this DFID project will help NULO reach its full potential in skills training and also contribute to the reduction of unemployment.
We thought that NULO was not maximizing its production. To be such a stellar a stellar tertiary institution, and only have, daytime training. We want to see evening school, night school, and so this really was the objective. And I am very happy to say that this is about to start this September 2019. NULO will not just maximize its production, it will really double it. So NULO will be producing twice time the amount of trainees that it has been producing through the year.
Government will contribute the remaining 35% of funds towards the project. That story just ends the national report for today, Wednesday, April 17th. Let's recap the top story. UE names Grenada best paying island for student tuition. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
All right, let's hear what you thought about this morning's edition of the NIS, the GIS. Benedict Cador says, we are training for no jobs. John says, what about wheelchair access to these said jobs? You know, earlier on this morning when we started, I mentioned one of the things I really like about you people who join us here for Good Day is just how polite you are. Everybody comes on and says good morning. Something else I really like, and I just noticed it here. When you have to rent, you rent. But when you have to be complimentary, you do so. Want an example? Peter Bishop says, Peter says here, I will give you and your government 100% on this IT center. See? Fair is fair, Pedro. Thank you very much for highlighting that. Now, most of you, my dear friends, this morning decided to talk about the Minister of Education. Well, Donna Joseph says, woman, that money comes out of the students and their parents' pocket. Very observant, Donna. Margaret says, so wait now, you have a Minister of Education and a Minister of Tertiary Education? Well, what the jail is this? Margaret. Peter says, Minister, tell us about the TAMCC deal with McMaster University. Is it true that the deal is off? Good question, Pedro, because I have heard some rumblings towards that effect, okay? I have noticed that there's been absolutely dead silence for some time now, and Georgie Porgy is just wondering. He has asked a few questions, but not gotten answers, okay? Margaret says, Margaret with her technical observation here, Margaret says, Never put someone in the swivel chair for an interview or news conference because of the natural inclination to swing it. I don't swing, Margaret. Have you ever seen me swing? No, you've never seen me. Joke you're making, girl. John says Bishop's College is still waiting to be revamped from last year. Hear that, Minister? John's taking issue there. Peter Bishop says, leave Bishop's College just like that. My people love it that way. Okay. Benedict Cador says, everything's happening in the future. You know, we're being told what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Well, we really ain't hearing what's happening. John sums it up by saying, coulda, woulda, and shoulda. Andy Smart goes back to the oil and exploration. Andy is showing just how smart he is here. He says, you do not own the oil and gas unless you have explored and drilled for yourself. The country benefits from the taxes, royalties, and percentages of sales from the company which did the drilling. Trinidad enjoys both worlds, since it does its own drilling and makes money from the multinationals such as BP and Shell. Thank you, Andy. Monica Joseph goes back to education. She says, this woman has more guts than breadfruit, even with your dishonesty within the government. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. Opela Darbo is checking in here saying good morning. Mr. B, despite my toothache, I have a toothache this morning. I hope you have a cure. Let me take a little break here and pay some bills so I could buy some ibuprofen or something like that. And we'll get to you in just a wee bit.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Welcome home.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company. Tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Alrighty, folks. John's advice to me is that I get some clove oil and put it on my whatever, but don't get it on your tongue. Mr. Bierzynski, sir, how are you?
Good morning.
What's so good about what's so good about it? Your Bob Marley shirt or what?
Rain fell.
Oh, rain fell.
Yeah. And with regard to the Bob Marley shirt, I understand that for toothaches, that one of the products that Bob Marley is associated with may be useful in alleviating your pain. On the other hand, you could perhaps try obtaining an illegal prescription for opioids. That might help as well.
Boy, I came to the right place for advice this morning.
Yeah, because you see, I was listening but not really hearing too clearly for the real news. So now I have the opportunity to give you an update from the Magic Kingdom. I want to establish a disclaimer first of all, though, that any similarities between what I'm about to say and persons who are living or dead is entirely coincidental. So, in case anybody is recording it, assuming that the bandwidth is satisfactory, you can assume it. I have established the disclaimer. This is news from the Magic Kingdom. Remember, we established sometime previously where Disneyland is. So anyhow, now the buffoon in the White House decided to give firefighting advice to the emergency authorities in Paris while the Cathedral of Notre Dame was on fire. This buffoon presumably has never carried a bucket of water in his life, because otherwise he would know that water, I believe from my school days, weighs 10 pounds a gallon. So if you think about an aerial water tanker, as the authorities pointed out to the buffoon in the White House, in effect, when you take a mass of, let us say, 3 tons of water, traveling, let us say, slowly at 150 miles an hour, and then from a height of, I don't know, 200 meters, when you multiply mass by velocity, you get a force, which is all well and good if you're trying to out forest fires. But it really wouldn't help if you drop it in a city center. But the buffoon, I thought, had set records until I heard one denizen of the Magic Kingdom explain that the Coast Guard went out looking for a boat that wasn't there. So because they didn't find it, that means it never was there, and the fishermen in Grenville are engaged in mischief, and the whole thing was a hoax. Well, I didn't expect to find Dopey in the Magic Kingdom so upfront with his lack of clarity. You send out a boat to look for a boat. You don't find no boat. So therefore, the boat you went to look for was never there. So you think that beat all cockfight? No, man. As one of your correspondents or listeners or viewers said earlier, I heard you read it. There's another one that have more guts than something. Bully, I hope. No, I prefer bully. No. Nicki Mirage was talking about the fact that the oxygen generation plant in the hospital wasn't producing enough oxygen or the right oxygen or oxygen at all. But he could not bring himself to say that the plant break down. So that was left to the person sitting to one side of him, to clarify. And not just to clarify, but to make a statement in the interest of transparency that in fact, you know, working. So I can only hope that it has subsequently been fixed and is again in operation. But it points to the fact, and this is how the appellation first came about, which is that the individual sees things that other people don't see. Hence, Nicki Minaj. But he is not the only one, because you remember Simple Simon? Now, Simple Simon apparently doesn't know the difference between making an appointment, not making an appointment, and a disappointment. So perhaps he should try getting an attachment with McMaster University to figure out exactly what is the difference. Because I believe that what Simple Simon got was a disappointment, as opposed to having an appointment, which was announced so very many months ago. So we have Simple Simon, we have Dopey, and we have Nicki Minaj. You would think that was enough. But then you have another one who, for some reason or another, has suddenly decided that deals can be entered into and the details must not be made public, so that the next investors coming will not know the details of the previous deal, so that Grenada can now extract, and that is the term he used more than once, extract better deals from the next ones coming. Well, that beat all cockfight. He had more guts than Boley and Breadfruit combined, because he seems to have been completely misguided, willfully so perhaps, self-misguided, with regard to the discharge of the responsibilities of a public official. You cannot keep it private. That is why we have officially the Houses of Parliament, and apparently unofficially the Magic Kingdom, where if I say so is so. But they forget that if you say so is not necessarily so, because we're watching you. And as long as we have bandwidth, we're able to hold you to account. So having said that, how's your bandwidth today?
Hold your bandwidth today.
It's what, sorry?
Hold your bandwidth today.
Uh-huh.
Let me.
Well, you did hear that. Which constituency is it that they're improving bandwidth?
Yes. Mr. B, try hard not to make me laugh. It hurts. It really hurts this morning. Carla Clemens says, Mr. B, you're on point on all the concerns I'm having here too. She says, Simple Simon says. She says, more guts than Boley, beat all cockfight for real. Petra Andrew Thomas says, very interesting. I'm hearing slangs I have not heard since leaving Grenada. Great, guys. Just attribute those to Mr. Bierzynski. Veronica Sandy says, whoa. So Grenville fishermen lying, he's saying, or UFO. Do you think it might be UFOs that they spotted out there, the fishermen allegedly spotted, Mr. B?
No, I don't think so.
UFOs with a fishing line, yeah. oh.
In other words, you could put out all the bait you want. You can't hold me with that one.
Mr. Gary would love to be sitting here this morning. Who knows? He's probably watching this.
From the astral plane.
Yes. Pele says, good morning, Alan. Rain fell. Great. I hope Nawasa collects water in clean, covered containers.
I believe that they are currently doing so. However, in the open catchment areas, I hope that the rain has not been too heavy, because that means that the silt will enter the main lines, and what I will be getting when I open my tap will be the color of coffee.
Yeah. Like, I remember when my sister used to live in Montjaloux, man. I went to her place to visit, opened the tap, and it was like chocolate water coming out of there. Chocolate, and this went on for a lengthy period of time. Martin Carmichael Simon says, if it was we, the Coast Guard would have found it.
Well, apparently you really don't need to get out to sea that often. You can just wait for it to come ashore and you intercept it coming over Grande Town. Or apparently the last one I saw in the newspaper, right in the middle of Grenville. It appears that when you have a relatively recent import from Japan with a Lexus brand, it is inadvisable to put 525 pounds of weed in the trunk, because the suspension is a dead giveaway. Your tires begin to put out. In the middle of Grenville, you know.
Nothing surprising.
I don't know.
Nothing surprising.
But again, you know, as a judicial officer once said, how is it that the police are able to intercept the couriers, but they're not charging the big men, the financiers, the people who own the boats? Is it that these people are untouchable?
Yeah.
Is it that they are a law unto themselves?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
There's something published on the website asking similar questions. Margaret says the bandwidth is holding for now. Margaret, don't put cuss on me. Don't put cuss on me. Bernard Gilbert says, Mr. B, thumbs up. Call a spade a spade. John says, UFO, unidentified fishing objects. Operators. Unidentified fishing operators. UFOs.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Mr. B, listen, just to get off topic here for a minute, I'm sure that you have been watching the news, and you may have seen that in the sitting of Parliament this week, a certain member of Parliament raised a few eyebrows. What are you laughing at? I haven't even gotten to the question yet.
I was talking about the Magic Kingdom, you telling me about Parliament.
AB, Mr. Tobias Clement, sent some signals. What say you? Have you done an assessment?
I sent you a signal on the 7th of January, pointing out Section 66, subsections 1 and 2 of the Constitution, which states that the Governor General shall appoint a leader of the opposition. And in January I said, what happened? Toby don't want to work?
Ah, okay, so you think he might be applying for the job now?
Well, I don't know why he has taken so long.
Yeah.
The only development that I was surprised about was when the spokesman said that both Toby and my friend Tony from St. Patrick West are being treated better than the rest of them, and I have no idea what that could possibly mean.
He says with a straight face. AB, Andy Smart says, I think he's referring to your comment here about the Lexus. Andy says, suspension is a dead giveaway. Must be dead weight.
Yes, I am told that compressed weed is quite heavy.
Okay. Before we run out of time, I want to toss another one at you. And this one's no laughing matter. Toby, not Toby. Sorry, Mr. B. I was calling you Toby. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Slip of the tongue there. Mr. Bierzynski, A lot of talk on social media this week about the situation with child abuse in this country, child abuse of minors in particular. What do you think? Are we doing enough, Amy?
Well, I wonder whether we are only now hearing more of these instances being brought to court, and whether or not it is something that has not been swept under the carpet for generations. But it is clear that our legislation does not provide for adequate penalties. And in particular, I am disturbed at the calls made by well-meaning individuals, social workers, as well as at least one legal practitioner, for the repeal of legislation that allows or prescribes the application of corporal punishment. For these types of offenses, I am a firm believer in corporal punishment in supervised circumstances, and as Uncle Gary used to say, they should be met on entry to Richmond Hill with the cat o' nine tails, and they should be said farewell to at the expiry of their sentence with a firm whipping from a tamarind rod.
And then wouldn't you be faced...
Let them remember what they went in there for.
And then wouldn't you be faced with an outcry from the advocates, human rights?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I prefaced my remarks by saying that there are well-meaning people and at least one legal practitioner who want corporal punishment removed from our law books.
Okay.
And I disagree that because when you are faced with these types of offenses, and when we have to understand that what is being brought before the court is perhaps the tip of the iceberg. Remember, our culture promotes homophobia, misogyny, and whining. Just think about our most recent cultural prominence. What were the messages? Drink more rum. Fall down. Behave bad. Everywhere you turn, and it's year round. Remember when we were growing up, Carnival was at Carnival time. Right now we in Lent, but you wouldn't know it. This is Holy Week, but you wouldn't know it. And these hypocrites and parasites abound in society. And you hear them calling in on the radio station saying this is a Christian nation and we must call on God and the blood of Jesus to come and save us. And in the meantime, we're promoting a criminal who has taken license to promote his upcoming show with the title Long Walk to Freedom. It is a disgrace that this individual should be given permission to come and perform in Grenada. Long walk to freedom, my foot.
John here says, not as loud as the abused children's outcry, George. Yeah, I understand, John. Finally, AB, I know you got to run. Listen, we talked a little while ago about the fast disappearing boats out there in the sea that, when the Coast Guard shows up, they're not there. But there's another situation that was brought to my attention as I ran around town yesterday.
It's called Pirates of the Caribbean. You didn't see the movie?
No, I didn't see the movie. But yesterday, by the bus terminal, somebody rushed over to me. I don't know this gentleman, but he rushed over to me and he said to me, Mr. Grant, I think you have a boat? I said, no, I don't. He says, boy, if you had one, I'd tell you sell it now, because you ain't safe going out there in the sea anymore. I said, what are you talking about? He says, man, you hear about the shooting that took place out there between Trinidad and Grenada? Apparently, a yacht, a sailing yacht with an elderly couple on board, was attacked by some pirates who supposedly, allegedly, were Venezuelan. You heard about
Yes,
that?
well, I know that someone has said you can't jump to conclusions and assume that they're Venezuelans just because they're speaking Spanish.
Exactly.
However, this business about piracy between Grenada and Trinidad is not new. Yachties have known about this for years. And in particular, it's not just the sort of opportunistic interventions where Venezuelan drug smugglers, whoops, I said it, Venezuelan, where drug smugglers are moving their product up to St. Vincent or islands in between. I wouldn't know. I like my life.
Yeah.
So it's not new. From time to time, as I say, it's probably opportunistic. This happened, according to the information, about 15 miles northeast of an oil drilling platform, which would make it, I don't know, 70, 80 miles southwest of Point Saline.
Yeah, yeah.
So the people were extremely lucky. And I think you saw the same report that the boat is now in Port Louis, being repaired because of the impact of bullet holes. They're very fortunate.
Finally, somebody drew my attention again, dealing with Venezuela. Apparently, there's a real major issue now with Venezuelan gangs, supposedly showing up in numbers in Trinidad.
I saw a clip that they're working on construction sites in Trinidad. Well, I suppose the saving grace is that we have Guatemalans stringing cable so that if Venezuelans came, the Guatemalans would probably be able to identify them. And on the construction sites, generally we have Chinese.
Okay, Mr. Bierzynski, okay. Sir, may I take this opportunity to wish you and your family a very happy Easter. Thank you. Thank you for gracing us this morning. And
and by the way, I'm off to the gas station now. I gambled that the price increase would not affect me too much. And in fact, I was driving with the fuel light on in my vehicle. And I am pleased to find out that my gamble has paid off. The price per gallon of diesel fuel has gone up by 1 cent. I'm sorry for everybody who is driving a gasoline-powered vehicle because the price has gone up by $1.
Wow.
Per gallon.
Were you able to afford the 1 cent?
What's that, sorry?
Were you able to afford the 1 cent increase?
Well, I'm going to the gas station shortly.
Assuming that you can afford
I haven't been there yet.
Thanks a lot, AB.
Okay.
Good to see you, bro. Okie doke, folks. There goes Allan. What can we say? Allan is Allan. Quickly here, John Kennison says, quick, while we still have bandwidth. Yeah, John. It's been a pretty good morning. The stream has gone very well. Thanks, Digi. Carla says, yes, apparently in Trinidad the gangs have been alleged. Kipling Francis says, always interesting to hear the plain-spoken AB. Okay, folks. That's going to do it for the time being. Take a break. Come back. Wrap it
up. Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Welcome home.
Juve Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Hey, Chester out there in Zurich. Good to see you, man. Good morning. Folks, a little heart to heart before I go. One, this thing's really hurting, that tooth. Really hurting. Gave me a pretty rough time last night. I have to ask a favor of you. Would you please excuse me if we do not assemble here tomorrow morning, Good Friday? I want to spend some time communicating with my God tomorrow morning and being thankful for what he did to me, what we're commemorating this weekend, Easter weekend. So please, we're not going to get together tomorrow morning. However, on Sunday morning, you wouldn't dare miss what we got lined up, because we're going to main feature is going to be about the oil and gas situation. Yaman. We're assembling a team, and so far, Dr. Patrick Antoine is going to be a member of that team. Will be appearing to give us his thoughts about the news which was broken just this past week. This week, actually. And there are going to be some more powerful voices joining us. So please. 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. That actual segment should begin about 9:30. But we do hope you'll be able to join us. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures. And this one comes to you from the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verses 26 to 29. And for those of you who are sometimes a little afraid to speak out, make a note. Matthew 10, 26 to 29. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Matthew 10, 26 to 29. Happy Easter, my dear friends. God bless you.